What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the garage. Welcome back to part 2 of the BC Racing coilover install on the Volvo 240. In the last episode, you saw me disassemble these, get the rear springs and shocks installed, and today we are going to be chopping these off, cleaning these up, getting these ready to be welded onto new coilovers. So these do come with instructions. They might be a little bit outdated, but the main point is that we want 50 mil of material above the knuckle left over, just for, I guess, for strength and just to have enough material to weld onto, I guess, or yeah, probably just for strength. Looking at these instructions, it says note the breach on the bottom of the lower mount, or you can kind of see here. But these don't have a breach, and I don't think we actually need to do that, so these might be outdated instructions or potentially for earlier models of Volvo. So I don't think we really have to worry about that. All we have to worry about really is the 50 mil, and we should be good to go. So I'm gonna get one of these into the vise, measure it up and chop it off and see how that goes, and then move on to the second one. There's our two spindles cut off. Got to do a little bit of a cleanup job here. It wasn't too bad. As you can see, this material is fairly thick. So yeah, potentially with a even better cut-off disc, this would go even faster, but I've just got some crappy Mastercraft ones. But yeah, we'll go ahead and clean these all up and get these all nice and ready for welding. Probably gonna throw some tape or something on these spindles just to make sure they don't get hit with the wire wheel or anything like that. But yeah, we'll quickly do that and these will be good to go. Alright, so we got these all cleaned up, ground down, as good as I could get them. Took the burrs off the top here. Oh, actually there's a little one right there. Chamfered the edge just a little bit. I'm not sure how much it's gonna need. Yeah, couldn't really get in here with my crappy Mastercraft grinder, but took off quite a bit, so once I find somebody to weld these, they won't really have to do too much cleanup. So I figured out what these are for. These actually bolt to the bottom here and just lower the pickup point for your control arm. Yeah, that's what these are. I know a lot of people actually just get that Calfink quick steer arm, but I think these will do fine for now. Maybe later on down the road I might pick those up. I did pick up these Calfink brake line brackets, but unfortunately they don't actually fit on these BC coils. I did measure what the stock length was, or not stock length, but what the cut length was, and it was 63 centimeters. So when I go to put these on, once these are all welded up, I am going to try and set these at 63 centimeters overall length and see how that sits. But yeah, that's just a ballpark kind of thing. I'm not really sure how it's gonna go, but yeah, first things first, we need these welded, and then we can move up to the car. So fortunately, I was able to get the spindles welded on by a Volvo club member, Evan Moore. I'll try to find his Instagram and put it somewhere up here. But yeah, anyways, got those welded up super fast. Coated them with some paint so they don't rust, and yeah, getting closer to putting them on. Yeah, took the hubs off and all that stuff you saw in the last installment there. Decided to clean them up, repack them with grease, clean all this stuff, and painted the crusty dust shields and whatnot. They're super pitted, but they still work. Got these assembled. Here are the struts, or the coilovers, sorry, with the spindles on. Coated them and set them to 63 centimeters in from here to here, just to match what the original setup was with the cut springs. Probably gonna have to adjust that. And picked up some new ball joints from Rock Auto. That's part number for one of them, part number for the other one. So these are left and right. So yeah, pretty much just got to bolt all this stuff up, and she'll be good to go. Next up, we need to assemble our new ball joint. I guess you don't need to do this if you are reusing your original ball joints, but the boots are all torn on the old ones, so figured I might as well get some new ones. And like I said, got these from Rock Auto. They're pretty simple. New dust boot goes on like that, and then you reinstall this mounting plate. You'll need to take this off your original ball joint, and then you tighten this nut down, and this needs to be tightened to, I believe 35 to 50 foot-pounds, which can be a little bit tricky because the tighter you get this, the more that the ball joint is going to want to spin. So the way that I've come up with trying to figure out how to do this is using a vise and a crowbar, and I'll show you that right now. So with it in the vise, take my crowbar, jam it in here, and put pressure on the ball joint just to kind of squeeze it and keep it from moving. And it seems to work, keeping it tight, and you're able to get it up to that 35 to 50 foot-pounds pretty easily doing it this way. I'm not sure if there's another way to do it, but this is how I figured out how to do it. And there you go, there's your ball joint. I'll just insert grease fitting down here, and this guy will be good to go. So that's the coilover mounted to the car. Use this factory camber adjustment. This one is set all the way to max camber, and the coilover itself is set all the way to max camber. One annoying thing that you can kind of see here is you can't actually adjust your camber settings kind of on the fly. So I may come in here after the fact and clearance this just a little bit. I'll have to double check to see if that's a good idea or not, or if that's going to weaken the shock tower too much. And then down here, you'll notice that I didn't use the billet spacer block for the ball joint. And that's just because as it sits now, it doesn't seem like it's low enough to actually require that, but I did throw a wheel on here just to kind of see, well, actually on the other side, because I do have that one installed, and it does seem kind of high, but we'll wait to see what it's like when it's when the wheel's on and it's on sitting on its own weight and not fully drooped. But as it sits now, I don't think we will need those, but if we do, I'll probably make a separate video or maybe a third video or something showing you guys how to install that thing. But for now, we'll get this tape off and we'll throw the hub on and the brake on, reconnect that tie rod, all that stuff. And hopefully we can get the car sitting on its own weight, which would be really exciting. Alright, so the hub is back on, dust shield, all that stuff. Pretty much all that's left to do is hook up the brake lines, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. So I will kind of fight through that. I'll just skip that. You don't need to see me because you can't really see anything anyways when I'm in there. And we'll pick this back up when the brake caliper's on. And then we should be able to throw some wheels on it. Let's see what it looks like. So with everything all on, next thing we need to do is bleed the brakes. And for bleeding, I picked up one of these things. Never really used one of these before, so we'll see how that goes, but supposed to make this into a one-man job. So we'll give it a shot and see what happens. Well, it's a couple days later, and unfortunately, while I was bleeding the brakes, broke off one of the bleed nipples here. So that kind of put a halt on getting the wheels on. But I'm getting a little bit impatient, so I think I'm just gonna say fuck it and throw the wheels on. And then I went ahead and just ordered new calipers and whatnot. These are pretty old. These are the factory calipers, and I don't know how old these brake pads and whatnot are, so Rock Auto again for calipers and rotors pads. Wasn't too expensive when you get the cord charge back, so just waiting for those to show up. And yeah, I guess we'll get these on and see how much adjustment will be needed. Alright, well, as you can see, that's kind of how I thought it was going to go. Front is super, super high, but I thought the back was going to be pretty low, but this is higher than it was with the cut spring, so I'm going to have to adjust all this. Back shouldn't be too much adjusting, but the front is like, that's almost like stock height. Ugh. That's no good. So my guess there was off, so that's gonna have to come way, 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 way down. Probably like this much. But you can see there's a bit of camber there now. Honestly, I thought there was going to be more with the coilover maxed out and the stock camber plate. But maybe the more I lower it, the more camber it will appear to get. But if that's how high it sits now, I'm definitely gonna have to install those spacer blocks under there. But it's good to see it back on its own weight, and you know, it's not gonna move much, but suspension always needs to settle. Yeah, that's that's pretty much it. Now it's just waiting for the brakes and a nice day that's not raining after work here to adjust all this stuff, which shouldn't be too bad. But maybe I will end this video for now, and we'll do part 3 when the brakes come in and I install those spacer blocks and adjust those like way down. Anyways, yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.